So,
yes,
Mama.
yes.
Talk to me about getting the call from MTV for Champs versus Stars. What on earth were you thinking?
Oh man, they called me. They called me months before we actually shot, because I think they were like trying to put one together earlier on, and then it was like, okay, yeah, we're not doing it, and then they came back around. No, the first time I wasn't interested. Yeah.
What piqued your interest this time around? What was the difference?
Taking chances, doing something different.
Because I remember when we met on the show, you were saying, this is dope, and you kind of felt like this wasn't an arena that you'd stepped into before.
No, definitely.
Did you know about the show beforehand?
Not really, no. I mean, I've seen it. You know what happened when they told me about it, I went and researched it. So I was like, oh, this reminds me of Gladiator and Blowout. Like when, these competitive shows. And so I was like, it seems fun.
Yeah.
So I did.
Until it wasn't. Now, you've judged like panel shows, dance shows, but how did it feel? Do you feel like you were ready for this level of competition?
I'm always ready, baby. No, I feel like it was the most spontaneous thing that I've ever done in my life, right? So I was just like, Lulu, why are you talking to me in this tone? Don't talk to me like this.
What, in an interview tone?
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm asking you. I want to know.
It's too regular.
I want to know.
No. All right. I feel like I don't feel like I wasn't ready. In other words, I felt ready. But I was a little nervous, and I would always come.
What were you nervous about?
First of all, I was nervous about who was going to be on the show.
So this is the thing, like we all first met on the beach, didn't we?
Yeah, we met on the beach.
But who did you know out of the cast? You knew Booby. Who else?
I knew Booby.
You know already?
I knew Booby. I knew of Hennessy, and I met Brooke before. I met Brooke before when I first came out with my music. She was really young, and she was an aspiring artist as well. And it was like, meet Hulk Hogan's daughter, and I was like, hey, and she was like, hey, she's always a sweet girl. So we had a relationship from about 9 years ago. Yeah. And then, but it was very just like on a cordial basis. And Josiah just auditioned for my sitcom. Yes. Or our drama, whatever. Dramedy.
What was it about? Sitcom?
It's a dramedy and it's in development, and we're not really, spilling out the details. But it was like he came in and read for this character at a bar, right? And it was so funny because he was trying to be this thug, and he was like, yeah. What about? He was asking. Let me put my head behind this seat because it's getting weird. Yeah, he was like, yeah, man, you think such and such is gonna feel some type of way? And I was like, this guy's not being authentic. So I pulled him outside, right? So I pulled him outside of the room, the casting room, and I said, can you want to read it again? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll read it again. And I was like, read it as a queen.
And how'd that go down?
Oh my God, it was fucking hilarious. He came back in and he was like, yeah, girl, so how do you think that he's going to feel about that? Yeah, you're right. And it was so fucking hilarious. Like everybody in the room was just rolling because it was like the first time he came in acting and giving the character an unauthentic character. Yeah. It was like weird. It taught me so much about acting because sometimes I do that. I'll take a role and I create this person that's outside of myself. Mm-hmm. When you could take the character and make it something close to home that feels really good, that's relatable. Yep. So all he had to do was take what he read and relate it, internalize it, and then spit it back out. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when I said read as a queen, he felt more comfortable in that terrain, and he fucking killed it. Like he was dope.
He's a dark horse. He's got skills.
Yeah, he got skills.
And you knew Casper as well, didn't you?
Casper from just the dance world when I was a judge on America's Best Dance Crew, and even prior to that, when I came to LA, I would go to these crump halls.
Yes, which is where he made a name for himself, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So but you and I, we didn't know each other from Adam, did we?
No.
So this is why I call you my day 4.
Okay.
Because you remember when we met, it was like, I thought you knew Hennessy, I thought you knew obviously multiple people on the bus. And we're both Libras. So I think at first we were kind of like sussing one another out. We were just like, let me just see.
I was like, hey.
See what this girl's about.
Yeah.
And then I reckon it was around about day 4 that we kind of started to vibe.
It's my
and
favorite
then
day.
Hit it off.
Favorite number.
Yes, it was indeed. So obviously, we got on really well. Was there anyone that you wasn't expecting to get on well with from the cast that you gelled with from the start?
Somebody that I wasn't expecting to get along with, but I wound up getting along with them really well?
Well, not necessarily expecting, more a case of who else did you gel with? Who else was there that obviously naturally?
Wow, I feel like you and I got really close. I hung out with Brooke and Salita.
Yes,
and
we were on the
yes, because I was on the Reds. Don't say the Champs.
Oh yeah. Good point. Good point. On the Champs, right? You were on the red team.
I was on the red team, and my main thing was building a bond with the stars so that we could stick together and know the game that we were playing, because the Champs were trying to really they were playing trickery games, and because you and I converse so much, and you had experience on the show before, there were things that hey, you guys, we may be separate, but we have to stick together. You see, they got Arian out of here, and I'm just like, okay, I catch you on quick. So I'm just like, okay. And then it's like, being in the company of other women that were on the team that were stars, that was Brooke and Salita, and I knew that they were going to try one of us at different times to like try to send us in. And I feel like while Brooke is really a sweetheart and she comes across like America's sweetheart on television, she's really a loyal person. Yeah. And I felt like we got a chance to know each other a little better. We went to dinner. She would introduce me to people in business that could actually help grow my brand. And she was very genuine about it. And so she's someone I could say I felt like a connection to during the first like couple of weeks. And then and I like everybody. I feel like everybody was pretty cool because I'm the type of person that I it's never face value, only in the beginning, but then there's always this deeper layer where I want to know who you are for real.
I feel like you're super intuitive. I feel like we have that in common.
Yeah.
There's what's going on in the room.
Yeah.
When you get into a room, a group full of people that are being thrown together for the first time, and then there's really what's going on in the room. And you kind of remained a skeptic throughout the whole show as to what was going on in terms of the inner politics of your team. Talk to me about that. Tell me about that.
What do you mean?
So, obviously, you were on the red team. You had that kind of not necessarily a division. You were the one person on that team that kind of remained true throughout and called it as it was. This is Champs versus Stars. Right. And at every single opportunity, the Champs are going to get the opportunity to send us in and we're going to be going up.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I was honest with everybody. I'm like, here's the thing. Every week that there's a girl elimination is a possibility for me to go in. Sure. So I'm never like, oh, CT, like I'm not trying to kiss up to CT. I'm not trying to kiss up to Ashley, Kayla, or anybody else who were champs on my team. And although I built really good relationships with them, Devin, all of those guys, would cut each other's throat to win.
Yeah.
At some point, right? So for me, it was always like, I'm here to play. We're having a good time. At any given moment, I could go in. So I'm not really concerned with not going in. And while that was truth, there was also another layer of truth of once you get in past 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you don't want to go home.
Yeah,
because now you're invested. In it. You're like this. Yeah, you're like, let's go.
Yeah. You're ready for the final.
And I feel like a lot of people were being dishonest about that.
Yeah.
For one.
And they were kind of hiding their true intentions.
Yeah.
I felt like the champs in your team were frustrated with you for not playing ball.
They hated me.
Yeah, because I felt like they kind of, at certain times, they were swaying Salita and also Brooke, but you were literally the one pillar that just stood strong. How was that? Was that challenging? What was that about?
Oh, yeah, that was challenging because there were times when I felt like, and it's funny, because of the women, I never felt like Brooke was going to cross me. I felt like Brooke was very much so playing her part.
Right.
And she did a great job. She's beautiful. She was just like, I just don't know. And
very indecisive.
Very indecisive. And I feel like she's genuinely a very nice person.
Yeah.
Hands down. But she's also not to be played with. She's not a joke.
Yeah.
So she I felt like she had this energy where she was going to have my back regardless. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting skeptical and confused on what Salida would do.
Right.
Because when Salida threw Josiah under the bus, I felt like, although this is reality TV and we're shooting the show, it's like my personality is very much so I'm going to pull you to the side and say, don't fuck with me, Josiah. Not today, okay? You're trying it and I don't have the time. Mm-hmm. It's either we going to stick together and win this shit or you're going to be on your own. Yeah. Because I'm going to say your name if you keep playing with me.
For real.
And they could have caught it on camera, but it would have been a personal conversation to where I felt like.
Instead, it was played out on camera.
When it was played out on camera, even if it was on camera, I feel like even if I did it on camera, it would have been just me and him.
Yeah, but it was in a group setting, wasn't it?
In the group setting felt more like, let me say what I got to say so they feel.
Where am I aligned?
That I'm aligned with them. And that Josiah can go at any given time and I'm exposing him. Yeah. It's not chance versus stars.
Disposable.
You know? So
it was kind of reinforcement in that sense.
And Josiah pissed me off on the show. It was a point where he pissed me off and I was like, when they threw him up there, when they saved him, when they saved Shane,
yes.
When they was like, no, let's save him and put Shane because they knew they were going to use the save when they were playing checkers chess.
Yeah.
So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know that they're going to get rid of Josiah at any point when they're ready because of the way he's playing the game right now. He's all over the place. And his all over the placeness was pissing me off because I like Josiah.
And what did you do? Did you want him to just stick to one thing?
Yeah.
Was it the fact that he was kind of going back and forth with the champs and then trying to negotiate with the stars as well? You just felt like, you know what? You're just coming off as, want of a better word, a bum. Just pick a side and stick to it.
Yeah, I felt like, don't be a pussy. No, I'm playing. No, but not really. But like I
know that's the way you played the game. You play it straight down the line. You decided this is my alliance and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, but the other part to it too is that it's a TV show. We're having fun. So Josiah can play all he want. He can say what he want. He can do what he want. And everybody can, right? Because I felt like Boobie was playing it safe a lot of times too.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I don't know. Oh, man, it's gonna really hurt me to do this. And I was just like, Boobie, you are so full of shit. He was like, man, leave me alone, man. I'm playing my game.
You were putting a bit of heat on him.
Yeah.
So you narrowly avoided elimination against, or the elimination challenge against Ashley.
Yeah.
How did you feel when everybody in the nomination room was saying your name?
I already knew it was coming to that because after we completed the challenge, we got back and we sat around the fire. And I haven't been watching the show. I'm just going off my experience. So I don't know if I'm relating to something that people saw or not. When we sat around the fire, Shane was like, yeah, because there's one person that's just, I'm feeling like they're going back and forth.
Oh my God.
And I was just sitting there like,
he was tweet.
Just say what the fuck you got to say so I can get out of here. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm like, we're not going to play this game. And that's where I feel like sometimes like other stars would get kind of shook because it was like, why are you fake preparing? Why are you fake reacting to a moment that you know the champs were preparing for already? Yeah. So here's the deal. Whether you do well in the challenge or not, the key was to find something that was enough to make you feel guilty enough to be in elimination because we're utilizing you whether you like it or not. You're going in up against whoever is on the other side. Yeah. We're putting you in. Yeah. But we're not just going to put you in. We want it to sound and look good. Mm-hmm. So we'll choose anything. It could have been, well, you tripped over a piece of candy getting into the van when we were on our way to elimination and nobody trips on our team. Exactly. You're tripping. Like, what?
So that was going back to that kind of honesty thing. You prefer people to just turn around and tell you up front.
Like, you know what time it is. Y'all motherfuckers got to go. Cool. Chance versus stars, baby. You out of here. You know, and it would have been... Even though, you know, I would have felt the way, it still would have been fun. It still would have been funny because it is what it is. But,
So When you realised that the switch was about to happen and Kayla was going in your place, what were you thinking then?
Oh my God, it was so good.
It was good.
I was excited. It was so good TV. They hated it. They talked about it the whole way.
Completely.
We was in the van. I was like, oh, well, I already know I'm going in, so fuck it. And, you know, and she was pissed. I was like, shut up, bum. No, I'm just playing. You know, I loved it because, you know, when you try to hand something out to someone and it comes back and it works in the reverse state. So now I personally feel, and this is something that I never really got an opportunity to talk to Kayla about, but I would love to. I personally feel like Kayla, in some sort of way, fears Ashley's presence when working on the challenge. I'm not sure if that plays out in their personal lives, but on the challenge, it's like this ode to her where she'll become this person to make Ashley feel safe or comfortable or feel like the queen bitch. Like, and it's like,
I felt like she's definitely subservient to her.
Yeah.
And if you know, I felt like the energy completely shifted when Ashley had gone home with Kayla. Yeah. I felt like she was very kind of confrontational from the beginning. Yeah. And then she kind of simmered down when Ashley was no longer there. And I don't know whether that's because her safety net or a safety blanket had been whipped away, or all of a sudden she realised, I could be next.
And that's a part of her game too, because now she needs to make sure that she's aligned with so that she stays, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that happens a lot with different types of women, and you can always tell the strength of a woman. And I'm not trying to say that Kayla's weak. I actually built a good relationship with her outside of, you know, the competition. Like, we went out together to Floyd's birthday party. Her boyfriend's friends with him, and I'm friends with him, so we wound up at the same party, and we just shot out there together. And she's pretty cool. I think the problem comes in. The problem comes in when you feel like you need to be this person that you're not, to make someone else feel like you're riding with and for them. I feel like if you're going in a certain direction and you're like, Mama, what's up? And I feel another way, I'll express that to you. And if we get to a point where I see your point and we're walking in that direction, it's because I genuinely do. Or if we reach a point where we agree to disagree, it's because I'm standing in my truth and you're standing in your truth. Totally. And we still can be friends and coexist. But hey,
I agree. I felt like she was playing somebody else's game.
It's like, no.
Start to finish.
Yeah. No.
And now we see you partner up with Tori.
Yeah.
Wicked. This is the collaboration that I wanted to see.
Okay.
For sure. Like, when you two pretty much got together, you two just gelled. It was literally like yin and yang.
It's crazy.
And you were like finishing each other's sentences and all this. I was just like,
it's crazy.
God.
Tori is the love of my life.
Honestly,
I love her.
I wanted to be on your team.
Did you really?
Yeah, I wanted to bump
for the fun.
Well, I wanted to be on yours and Tori's team because you were like team fun and me and Casper were like team no fun. There was no
but
fun.
you and Casper had a really strong team, a winning team, you know? And you were very smart in making the choice of choosing him because, you know, just watching the show, even watching the show with you last night, it's like he's pushing you to go. Yeah. He's pushing you to stay focused. Yeah. And there's
sometimes
a beast in you.
A little bit too hard.
Maybe, but there's a beast inside of you. Like, where there's this angelic princess, there's also a beast side. Yeah. And if you're around somebody that's like, oh, Lulu, so cute, and you can do anything, you'll be this princess, right? When you got somebody like, what the fuck? You're like, first you like, who the fuck you talking to?
Exactly.
That's the first, you know.
I was literally like, I wish you would, Casper. I wish you would.
Yeah. So that's the first thing.
I wanted to leap over that board and just kick him in the face.
When he was like, Lulu, get your ass up. Let's keep pushing. But look, if you know, seriously though, if he talked to you in a soft manner in competition, in battlefield, it wouldn't pull the beast out. You don't need that. So that's why I love the collaboration. But with me and Tori, you know, when you started asking me about like my relationships building on the show, I didn't get to her, but I knew it would come around.
Special one, man.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the swimming challenge, because swimming, like from the get-go, when we turned up at the event, we knew it was swimming, and you said from the outset that you weren't a strong swimmer.
Yeah, I was very fearful. Yeah. To be honest with you, like, just like my over the water swim, that's something that I've like been like literally teaching myself to do. And like anywhere between like 3 and 4 feet, I'm even fearful of 5 feet.
Yeah. But this was what, 13
this feet? This was like 10 to 14 feet that we did the first maze. The first maze I think was in like 9 feet, and then it went to the 14.
Yeah.
So even when I first went into the water, it was like I didn't even know how to sink. I didn't know you have to like release the air to sink. So I tried to go down, and I kept coming up. So I was just like, let me go back up and get air. And then I started adjusting to the water. But I started adjusting to the water, and then to have Tori there pushing me and like, you got it, you cool? Yeah. Okay, I left the ring here. All you have to do is t-t-t-t. Yeah. And like, I had a good fucking time. And while I had fun, no, for real, and while I had all of this fun, I'm the type of person that even though I'm laughing and I'm having a good time and I'm being silly, I'm also concentrating. Yes. I'm pushing myself to actually do something. 100%. I'm not a fool. So I'm not just sitting there and like, oh, let me clown around. Like, no, I need to make sure that I'm executing. So what does it take for me to get down? Okay, I have to release air. What does it take for me to stay down? I have to hold my breath for a little while, release air a little, and help her. Yeah. Because for me, it was about partnership and teamwork. So getting down there meant that I needed to move that ring to another place, at least far enough so that she could execute the next stage. And long story short, to beat Kayla and Drake, who I felt actually finished before us, I was proud of that. And I know that we came out of 7 groups. We came in 5th place. I was proud of that because I don't swim in 9 to 14 feet. And that's not my terrain.
I remember when you guys got out of the pool, we just literally gave you a wicked round of applause because I was so proud.
Yeah, I was.
Because, like before I could see that you were nervous, and I was just
I was very nervous.
And then when I saw your head go down and it came straight back up, I was like, okay, this is going to be hairy. Yeah. So when you just kept persisting and persisting and persisting, I was just like, damn, Mama has got heart. And I think that's the point when we probably learned the most about you.
Wow.
Definitely. Without a doubt. You guys killed it.
I loved it.
So.
Oh, and I wanted to say this too.
Yeah.
Tori.
Yes.
I didn't see her throughout the whole competition.
How so?
Like, I just didn't see her. The first time I saw her was when she made fun of Brooke. And I was just like, who is this?
Oh, when she did the whole
I didn't see her. Like, she didn't exist to me, really.
Got you.
And it's weird that she would be one of the people that was just, like, non-existent.
Yeah.
To go from that to, like, bonding with her and, like, really seeing how funny she is.
And you chose her, didn't you?
I chose her.
Yeah.
I chose Tori.
And why did you choose her over the remaining players who were Salita and Jose?
I was nervous.
Both were pissing you off.
Yeah, both. Josiah and Shalita were both pissing me off at that point. And I was very nervous about their loyalty. And I didn't want anybody to cut my throat.
Got you.
You know? And that was why I didn't choose them. But more so of why I chose her was because they said, you know, keep your enemies close. Yeah. And I knew she was a champ. And I knew that I would be able to, you know, get in her head a little bit more about how she really felt throughout the competition and her strategy as opposed to being far away. So
there's 2 things I wanted to address. Like, so you chose Tori, and then obviously you have to go now partner up and go into these challenges together. Yeah. You were killing it on that kind of wall challenge, like the Twister challenge. How did you feel when she dropped in the water? Like, because she dropped in early doors and left you up there on your own. What were you thinking?
I was thinking, I can do this. I'm flexible. I got to hold it down. And then I didn't fall. And I didn't, I don't know what happened with me was the Miz was taking like 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes.
Telling people
the next move
that they need to drop.
Yeah.
And I was just like, come on, you got to be fucking kidding me. I would come out of position to be like, and they were like, come on, Mama, that's it. You have to go down. And I should have stayed on the wall because it was one of those things where aside from the production that was showed on television, I don't know what was shown because I didn't watch that episode.
It was brief. It was making it look as if we were moving through those stages literally very quickly. But
and no.
It was like sometimes you were there for...
There was like literally a minute and 30 seconds passing of him telling other people that they are done and they were arguing back and people had to hold position and it was very unfair.
Yeah. And I felt like almost Shane, when he was kind of like going at me and Casper, was just doing that just so we'd get down.
He was.
100%. I was just like, because he knows we have to stay there.
You're fucking, she's a cheater. But that's his game. Yeah. Shane is a very dishonest person in competition.
So how did you feel when, because at the end of that, we see Casper given the decision to send 2 teams home.
Yeah.
And he sends home yourself and he sends home Tori, he sends home Brooke and Shane. And I don't think I've asked you this at all, but I wanted to know, like, how did you feel about not being given the opportunity to fight, to stay in the competition? Just being literally like, bam, bam, you guys are gone.
I was really proud of you guys. I was like, I felt so much joy. I was so excited about being a part of the competition from the beginning up until that point. So many things was passing through my mind. One was, I don't want to go home right now. I'm having so much fun. The other thing was, you guys played a hell of a game. Because to be the 4 stars that was left on that side, and to have each other's back the way you did, and to have my back the way you did, I feel like when I was sent in to compete, that's when the stars really aligned. Because Salida, Josiah, Brooke, and I forget who else right now, if it was another star or not. Doubt it. So Salida, Brooke, and Josiah, they held their ground and they said Kayla.
Yeah.
And they made it very clear that it was going to be a split decision. They didn't rock the boat. They kept it. They were very strong in that moment. And then, you know, it went to the winner of the last challenge, which was a champ. And so they said, oh, okay, well, you know, it's going to be Lil Mama. And they put me up for Drake and you guys to come together. Even I didn't have to wait for Drake to make a choice of who he was going to save.
Yeah,
or knew. I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't have to guess. And that's when I knew that, you know, there's strength in numbers and there's power in loyalty.
Yeah.
And I was so happy, not only because Kayla and Ashley had to go up against each other, but I was more proud of us than about that. So when we got around to, after Drake making that move, the next episode, it being, okay, what do we do now? I was proud that you guys stuck to the 4 corners and the people who you knew would have your back for sure throughout the whole time. And you guys owed that to each other. So when I left, I cried. And I was just
I remember us on the bus, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" I came to give you a big hug.
And I was just like, and I was so happy. And you know, it wasn't a guilt trip. It wasn't because people on the bus was like,
I didn't care about sending you home.
Yeah. It was time. First of all, I didn't want to be. Listen, that shit y'all had to do. I was like, look, okay, good job. So.
I just felt like you wanted to be there longer.
No, I wanted to be there longer only because how far I've come.
Yeah. And you were having fun.
I didn't feel like it was owed to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I deserved it.
Yeah.
Because of my performance on the wall. Now, even if he was talking shit for 4 minutes, 10 minutes, I should have still held position. Because I would have been one of the top 3 and you wouldn't have had to save me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's like, look, taking into consideration my performance and taking into consideration how I was saved and taking into consideration how we stuck together, the way it played out, it was right. It was nothing wrong. I can't blame anybody except for myself in performance, and that's it.
Knowing what you know now, would you do anything differently? Or would you play it straight down the line again?
I would have played it straight down the line and I would have held position on the wall just for one more episode because I couldn't.
And what about the idea of you coming back to Champs vs. Stars? Would you do it again? I remember you saying on your outro as you were leaving the stage, "Oh, I'll be back." So, yes, will you be back?
I think I would definitely do it again, but first I need to take some swimming lessons. I get the feeling that it's going to be water involved.
Oh, always. There's always water and there's always eating.
Yeah.
And there's always puzzles.
Ugh.
Like, you know that those things are going to be inevitable.
So, yeah.
So, let's talk about what you're up to now. You just released the single Shoe Game. Tell me how that came about. When did you write it?
Like in November. I was in the studio with Ron Browse. He has a studio at his house. And I came by and we were planning on working, but he had this beat already playing and he was like, "Okay, you ready to get started?" And he turns it off. I'm like, "No, put that back on." What was that? And it was the instrumental to Shoe Game. He just made the beat that day. And I got in. I didn't change a thing about the record since November. We just got it mixed and put it out. I was very excited about the record, but I felt like seasonally, no, that's not a word, sis. It wasn't the right time for the record.
Yeah.
I felt like it fit more in the summer season. So that's why I waited to put it out. And so And then I just got with my team and we started putting together, because I'm a producer as well. So we started putting together the treatment for the video and putting together the whole thing, getting the set design and making sure my choreographer and partner, David Sincere, is on deck. And we made it happen.
So would you say that this is a return to music or that you'd never left?
Both.
How so? Explain.
Because I've put out a mixtape called Take Me Back, which is on like SoundCloud.
Yep.
And with that, and then I also put out another series of videos, freestyles, called The Lyrical Purge. And I was doing like 0 to 100. I did like all types of shit. Work. I did
so what's different about
unoriginal music?
What's different about Shoe Game compared to the tracks that we've seen of late?
Yeah. So those songs were just like unoriginal music. Although it was original because I wrote it.
Yeah.
Okay. The songs were other people, so it's like freestyles. And what happens is when your music is on iTunes and Spotify and all these different platforms, streaming platforms, what happens is it's considered an official single. Got you. And I feel as though I haven't released an official single since like my first album, Voice of the Young People. And so it is, so you get what I'm saying? It's both. I have never left because I continue to work on my craft. But when you talk about returning back, like this is going to count. We're making it count. Yeah, it's an official return.
Indeed. And the track is popping. If you haven't heard it, go and listen to it.
Yeah.
And it definitely has that kind of funny, like, or fun, upbeat vibe. And we talked about this.
Yes.
I feel like we talked about what was coming next, and you felt like you wanted to make tracks that would absolutely pop in and lit.
Yeah.
What was that? Is that where your mindset is at? You want, you know what I mean? Or as opposed to creating something that's more in your feelings?
Oh, well, it's always changing. It's I'm forever evolving, I feel, because since that conversation, my most current dialogue is like, I don't know if Shoe Game's going to be an album.
Yeah, we said this the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
I feel like you touched upon it.
Yeah.
Elaborate. What could we expect on the album?
I feel like the album, I don't know if it should be a super premeditated project, but I should have a direction. Like my first album, it had songs like Shorty Get Loose, G-Slide, Lip Gloss, and these are all like super upbeat, fun tracks that pretty much cover the fun girl that makes you want to party, right? And then the album takes a turn when I have on my roller coaster interlude, and I go into songs like Broken Pieces, which talks about insecurities and who you see yourself and how you see yourself. And then we have songs like College, which is my experience to college facility when I was a young girl. And if you listen to the song, you'll know the metaphor behind it. And it goes a little deeper than that. But then they have a record like Life, which touches on like foster care and abuse of a young woman at teenage years. And the mother is not supportive because of the cycle and her feeling like as long as you have this man in your life who is supportive of you, whether it be monetarily or feelings, all of that, like you're doing good. What do you mean abuse? Like, and then like, you know, the cycle of not having the father and the man you become. So records like that clash with Lip Gloss. And so I feel like with this album, I have so much to talk about. I feel like people already know I can dance. They know I can rap. That's great, right? So now it's to the point where it's, what do you have to say? And what do you have to say about your experiences that have brought you to this point that can help me with my experience and help bring me to the next point?
And what are those topics that you think you're going to be delving into?
I think it's just being transparent about the transition in my career, and how my personal life and my business life was affected. You know, I don't think a lot of people understand that when I was putting out my first album, my album was released in April on 4/29/2008.
Yep.
Right? my mother passed of cancer in December 15th, 2007. And we were already in album mode. That's 4 months. So we were already in album mode.
So you were...
I was on tour with Chris Brown and all the guys, right? And you can imagine, my mother was not murdered or in a car accident or anything like that. My mother had cancer, so
were you dealing
I was in
with
that fight
whilst you were writing or going through the creative process, or whilst you were doing the album?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, because my mother was had a sickness, because she had cancer.
It was something you were dealing with every single day. It wasn't something that just came
quickly. The lip gloss girl, it's popping.
Yeah.
Mother was fighting cancer in a stage 4.
So do you think that there is this new chapter to unveil?
Oh, yes.
And this new mama to unveil? Because I feel like in all of our conversations, the one thing that strikes me about you is the levels of your personality. There's literally the surface. Like when we first met, you were just literally every occasion lit, right, what we doing. And then when we're sitting down for like food or whatever, we would just go and drift off into these deeper levels of conversation, which was really intriguing. One of the things that I feel is a common thread for you is youth, and the way in which, and especially in shoe game, I just see kind of how important to you it is to include youth and the community in your neighborhood, in your projects. Why is that?
You know, I think it's important for me to include the youth, especially in my community, within my music, is because they're a part of it. They make it what it is with their energy, with what's actually happening on a day-to-day. And more important, because music changed my life. And the way music and dance changed my life, I know that there's another young girl that I can touch by being the woman that I am, you know, being that evolved young girl that ran to the block party because music was playing, and like, okay, who I'm battling today? You know what I mean? Or like, there was in Harlem Hospital, there's a program ran by Francoise Brooks, and her mother, Marie Brooks, is from the Caribbean islands, right? Pan-Caribbean islands. And she taught her, and then Miss Brooks taught a whole group of young women, myself being one of them, discipline, ballet, tap, jazz, South African. I wouldn't be anywhere close to the woman that I am without that program. And it all started with me. Like, there was this guy, his name is Mr. Robert Lee. I believe he passed on because he was really old when I was young. Mr. Robert Lee had this big blue tent, right? And he would sit it on the corner of like either 137th or 138th Street. And I lived on both blocks. Like, I've lived here and I lived there, right? And he would sell crabs. Like, so he had this big silver pot of boiling, like, well-seasoned water, right? And he would dip crabs in and like open clams fresh, and like we would like every summer. It's crazy. Every summer we would go to this tent and just have seafood, and it would be filled with people who's coming to get like his food. It was so good, right? So I had these four straight back cornrows, no earrings. I would lose my earrings every time I got them. And I'm with my brothers, and I'm just having a big shirt, and I'm just like, yeah, Mr. Robert Lee, and I'm probably begging for free food. And he's like, one minute, give me 5 minutes. You're going to have to come back, man. I'm running my business, you know? And he'll do his thing, and then he'll give us some food. And I'm like, thank you. So this woman pulled up to this tent. And she's like, oh, I have a dance program. You boys want to come do some flips? When I heard dance and program, boys want to come do some flips went over my head. She calculated me as a boy. And my brothers. So we all went together, and we're in the class, and she's like, oh, you guys made it. And I'm like, yeah, you know? And she's like, do you know how to flip? And I'm like, no, I don't know how to flip, but my brothers do. And she said, you're a little girl. I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, oh no, we have to put your hair in a bun. What? You need earrings, and we need to get you a leotard and tights.
What was your reaction?
I was just like, I was so excited. I was just like, okay, my hair's going to be in a bun. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay. And it came with these expenses. It came with paying for a leotard and tights and tap shoes and ballet shoes and jazz shoes and paying for classes, right? Packages, like if you come to the whole, you pay like that. And I didn't really have it. Like I knew my mom was doing her best to take care of us. I couldn't dare ask her for $300 a month.
And when you're a kid, you don't understand, like everything seems, any amount of money seems like a lot of money.
Yeah.
You just don't know how to get it.
I didn't want to stress her out. And so her and my dad, they would both like come up with it and pay. And then sometimes I wouldn't even tell them like, my dues. And she would be like, Shorty, you owe me some money. And, she would still let me go to class. But anyway, that woman, she changed my life.
It feels like growing up, it feels like there's your immediate family whom I want to talk about. And then there's this kind of broader family that also took you in and helped nurture you and build you as a person.
Most definitely. It's like a journey. It's like the LOUISE. You meet people along the road,
And little parts of them you take along the journey.
True.
And I feel like perhaps that youth work is now coming full circle for you, and it's your way of giving back.
It is. I need to open up a dance school.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, very soon.
Yeah.
I want to open it with another woman that changed my life. Her name is Nakia Wise, but we call her Nikki. She was a 24-year-old kindergarten teacher when I met her. She's still a teacher to this day. I think she's vice principal or something. And she had a street dance group, because this is when I moved with my dad. And again, I'm dancing in the lunchroom. My friend's like, you can actually dance, because the girl was like practicing, and I'm like, teach me. She taught me, and I was like catching on, and she was like, I want you to meet my group. I meet this group, and we wound up doing competitions in this local competition, and we wound up like winning together, and it continued to build character in me, because I had to fight to be a part of that group, because everybody was like street and like didn't want me to be a part of it. It wasn't this professional ballet.
Was it male, female? Was it?
It was a female dominated group. We might have had a boy here and there, maybe. I don't remember any boys being in our groups. Very competitive, but whether it was in that dance like studio auditorium rehearsing every Saturday, or it was several days out of the week and being a part of that street dance group, dance saved my life. So giving back through music and, open up this dance studio would be like, aside from becoming a mother, would be what I feel is my greatest contribution.
Completely.
Aside from music, touring, I could do the biggest television show, movie. That would be my greatest contribution in giving back.
I hear you. Respect. And now your family, you are super, super close to your family. Like,
I am.
One thing that strikes me, like you're on FaceTime to your dad. Your brothers are performers as well. How do you all rally round and support one another? You talk about, that time in your life where you lost your mother. And I lost my father as well. And so there are these moments when, as a family, you kind of find out kind of what you're made of. How was that time for you? How did you guys get through it?
It's crazy. I feel like because my mother was a singer and we grew up in a house where this woman sang every day. She got up every day. She did her makeup she was stunning. My mother's a stunning woman. Like I don't come close to this woman.
Shut up.
No, I'm telling you, she's stunning.
She must have been a diamond.
Oh my God, she's a diamond. She's a diamond, right? And so we were so influenced by music, R&B, listening to like when we was in the car the other day and we were singing Gladys Knight, Midnight Train to Georgia. I know these records like the back of my hand. Anita Baker. There's probably a plethora of names that are like in my spirit that are not coming to my head right now because we've heard so much music. And then my dad was a huge fan of hip hop. And I always say he used to be a DJ. He's like, Mama, stop fucking saying that. I'm not a DJ. But he was so good at it, right? He was so good. And he actually had these headphones that you could speak into. Like you could use it as a microphone. He had a setup. He had the real deal.
He was a proper DJ then.
He was a proper DJ. Okay. And then he had to like pull records and swap out and he would do it so seamlessly. He was fire. I think he was a DJ, but he was a well-rounded, entertaining, like he entertained music. And that's how I got into it, right? And that's how we got into it. So, and my mother was also like a movie fanatic. So we knew different movies and different genres. Like we would watch The Professional. But when The Professional went off, we might watch Beauty and the Beast. And when Beauty and the Beast went off, we might watch Set It Off or Juice. So there's these different types of
culture.
Yeah, so we're watching Leon, this guy.
One of my favorite.
Yeah.
Mathilde.
Yeah, so it's like we're like watching and we're like, whoa, like who is this guy? He's a shooter. He's so mannered. He's not like a gangster that would be portrayed as a ghetto gangster. But then you have in Juice, you have this ghetto gangster, and then you have she would show us, and then you have this, you know, lesson that's learned in Beauty and the Beast, where how you treat people up front, how you pay it forward matters. It's not about the woman looking and appearing beautiful. It's about her needing help as an old, struggling woman. Was he going to take her in from the rain, from the storm? And those things mattered to my mother. So now she's built not only character in us, but she's built interest in us to want to act, to want to sing, to want to dance and be a part of it all. And it was this natural thing. So like my brother OnStar, who's a part of Wild and Out Cast. Right. He dances. He has Waffle Crew, who he's one. I think he's 1/8 of Waffle Crew. Kid the Wiz is also a part of that.
Because I'm ready.
Yeah, you ready, right?
Ready.
I was born ready. I think you might have to be. I might be the 9th wonder, and you'll be 10th.
I'll 10.
Yeah, but then they have a whole bunch of young people that follow them that want to do what they're doing, because what happened was there was this, you know, of course we know break dancing and things like that happened. His father was a part of Rocksteady crew, Kippy D, and my brother, you know, sometimes he goes up to guys at Rocksteady like, I'm Kippy D Jr. And they're like, wow, I know your father. And you know, he gets the opportunity to share his history through dance. But when there was this big light feet wave where everybody was doing this Harlem dancing, like Harlem shaking and stuff like that, we were all a part of that coming up. And what he did was, when it became more about light feet and tone whopping and like really being like ill with your feet and like twisting and like all of these tricks, himself as well as a whole group of young people didn't let it die. And Waffle Crew is just the emergence of that. You know, he kept it alive. And so he's powerful in his own right, because what he does is he can foresee the things that he wants to see in the future with himself, with young people. And he makes it happen without people saying it's all right or people saying it's cool.
I feel like you have that instilled in you as well.
Yeah.
And we touched upon a discussion the other day that I thought was really, really interesting. And that was your faith.
Yes.
And, you know, there are certain times in life when I guess our faith is tested, and there have been a number of times for you, obviously. We've both had our kind of tragedies in life thrown at us. But you recounted a story of like a near-death experience. And I was like, that kind of got me hooked. I was, you know, you were young. How old were you when you were in a car accident?
I was 9.
9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And that I found was just like, you know, having that premonition, what you talked about then, that future thing. I feel like this is something that just exists in you. You know what your destiny is. So tell us about that experience.
So when I was 9 years old, for the summer, I was coming out of 3rd grade, going into 4th, and I went to visit my aunt in Brooklyn. I never forget, Green Avenue between Troop and Marcus Garvey. And I was just running across the street to play double dutch. And between running across the street to play double dutch and waking up on a board where they were bringing me back is all I remembered from before. Well, I remember a lot from before, thank God. Whew, what if I got wiped out? I just don't remember you. They would have been like, oh, damn it. So I remember, in that story, I remember those 2 instances of going to play and then being revived, and then this woman coming to me. And she was the woman that hit me, and she stuck around. And my brother was pulling up on a bike, but there was like 200 people outside. So I had to been laying there for a while because the people from the block accumulated in the circle around the ambulance. And then more people would come because they're like, you know, this girl got hit. She's not up. They probably was counting me out. And my aunt came down because when it got her, and she was like panicking. But I remember the conversation around that when I traveled to the hospital. I remember the conversation around it being, do you want to sue this person? Do you want to, what do you want to do about this to make sure that you're okay, or to make sure that you're well off when you're 18 years old. And I was just like, no. And looking back now, I think that it's very powerful that I made a choice on my own, because my mother even asked with my grandmother, what do you want to do? Because of course it would have took going to court, going to therapy, and me actually verbalizing how I felt as well for it to actually go through.
Cool.
And I remember my mom asking me, you know, what do you want to do? So to be that young and to make a choice of based on integrity and character, this woman coming to the hospital and making sure that she saw me and that I was alive and that I was okay. And it wasn't a hit and run. It wasn't this weird fear of her flooding because she wasn't sure what was going to happen next. This woman held herself accountable.
Yeah.
And I may have not known in that context of like what accountability was or what integrity was and actually understanding it. But intuitively, I knew.
And you knew that she cared.
I knew she cared, you know? Yeah. And so I was like, no, I don't want to sue her. She's a great woman. She showed up and I'm alive and I feel good. I'm hurt. Like I had scabs on my body. My hair was torn out. Like I was hurt.
Yeah.
My brother would always tell this joke where he's like, oh, she flew up to the lamppost and came back.
Oh my God.
I'd be like, I'd be like, yo, bro, you full of shit. And I let him tell it because he overpowers me in the room and he's super loud when he tells his story because he knows he's lying, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, she flew up to the lamppost and came back down. I was like, you got knocked the fuck out. You know? But really the truth is that when I was being brought back, he was pulling up on a bike like, that's my sister. He threw the bike down and he tried to run. And I remember a cop holding him back, like, you cannot go over there. And that's when I woke up. When my brother came was my moment when I woke up. So that's how I know he's lying when he tells the story. But it's always funny because we can joke about it now. But yeah, like for that woman to do what she did and for me to be able to still tell that story and laugh about it, I was so happy with my decision then. And then days would get hard in between where I was like, damn, I should have sued that bitch. But you know, to turn 17, 18 years old when I'm supposed to get this lump sum of money from getting hit by a car, which would have been like anywhere probably like 10,000, 20,000. I got 100 times that because I signed a $2.5 million deal with Jive Records.
Mama.
Where, you know what I'm saying?
Get it.
Where I was able to have success and have money in a way where I wanted it.
Yeah.
This is
not in a way. Yeah.
It wasn't pity. It wasn't like, oh, I got hit, so I'm still wearing this cane and pretending I'm struggling in life for 5 weeks. No. When I got hit by that car, they told me I wouldn't walk for 5 days. I was walking in 2. When I was in, first grade and I got my appendix removed, they said, oh, she won't be walking for 7 days. I was walking in 4. I got up. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm not going to make excuses for myself like, oh, I'm hurt, I'm damaged. I don't know. Whatever God put in me, whatever energy that I have that I could use to push myself back up again, to do it again, to keep going, to keep fighting, I'm going to do that. As opposed to like, they said I won't be walking in 7 days, so this is day 6. I need another day. No, I'm not that girl. I'm walking in day 4.
For real. That's my girl. So, that strength in you is unique. I feel like this is the reason we gelled so much on the challenge, because we were tested so much.
We were.
And you are that person that just bounces back time and time and time again. And if we look at, the music scene right now, you're about to re-enter that space.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
With a bang.
I'm so excited.
What's to come? Like, I want to know what's around the corner. So we've got an album.
Yes. It's going to be like the Big Bang Theory.
Are you excited about the rap hip hop game at the moment? What's the word?
I'm very excited. I'm excited about music right now because I feel like we're in a space where whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. And stop making excuses. Like, you don't need a network's backing to play your music video because they're not even playing music videos anymore.
Yes.
You don't need radio to play your music because while they're playing what the labels are giving them to play 10 times a day, and people are hooked on it and kind of like going to it, and these millions of like viewers is happening. That's all a fantasy. It's a facade. It's people playing with numbers, and you have to be mindful of your influence. So there's also a group of people who's like, let me see what this is. This looks new. What's this on this streaming site? What's this on that streaming site?
There's an element of exploration that I guess there wasn't before because it was being constantly pumped.
Yeah, whatever you were fed is what you thought was hot. So if they play it on TV and they play it on radio enough, which they do, you'll say, "Oh, I like this song." Do you really, or did you hear it enough?
Exactly.
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
And
it's always that it's growing on me.
Right. And while I'm not knocking the growing on me or the I like this record or I like this video, I'm not knocking it. My point is that there's amazing artists like the Joey Badass, the SZA before, she took the mainstream, and I'm sure Kendrick fought for her, which he should.
Yep.
She's incredible. But there's a group of artists that are selling out shows, selling out merchandise, have people who has their back because they love their music genuinely. And I feel like I have a great platform to have 500,000 plus followers on Instagram. And while you can look at it and say, well, I don't have 1 million. Well, I don't have 20 million. Well, I don't have 60 million. Well, I don't have 1 billion. You're always going to have something to say about what you don't have.
Yeah.
What about what you do have?
Yes, which is freedom to create.
Freedom to create, and a whole bunch of people that are waiting already. Yeah. It's not fair to those people who are already waiting, like, what are you going to come with? Yeah. And I think that for me, the most exciting part about it for me right now is that people want to hear what women have to say.
Well, that's my next point.
People, yes, they want to hear what we have to say.
So what are we going to be talking about? What are we going to be talking about with regards to Lil Mama Next Step? Are we going to be hearing diss tracks because they've made a little appearance recently?
Yeah, I'm about to make a diss track.
You are?
Yeah, I'm
oh my
right
God.
Now. Yeah, I'm fucking everybody up. They all say out of here.
Can I be first on the list?
What for what?
For the diss track. Just aim it in my direction and I'll come back with something.
Okay, we can work that out.
Hours.
I think that's always better. I think that's always better anyway, like to plan it out and then do it, because then like we're on the same page while we were making millions, fooling the world. Yeah. We're becoming rich, and we still have unity.
Exactly.
I like that idea.
Got you. Talking of diss track.
I like that.
Pusha T, Drake.
Yes.
Through it. Your thoughts?
None. I have no thoughts. Why? Because I've only heard each song like once. And then they both were good.
Yep.
However, I didn't get a chance to get into it, to dissect it, and then I hear that there's more going on behind it. Whatever. This is what I have to say about it, though. Because I have an overall perspective, if I may share.
Which is, go for it.
Nothing matters. It's entertaining, it's great, but nothing matters, right? I say that to say that if you love Pusha T, I love his music. I've always liked him. I don't care what people say about, oh, well, if it wasn't for Drake, you wouldn't be talking about Pusha T. Maybe not. In the same context of him being relevant, which is a word that's often used in today's society. But what happens is that he has made a mark and he has made history in music. And Drake has made a mark and he has made history in music. And I think that while we respect Drake and we love his music, now I feel like people are inauthentic to what relativity is, because what happens 10 years later after this man has made a mark in history, Drake, and you no longer feel he's relevant? Did he not make a mark in history? Yes. Was he not here and gave us great music? Was Pusha T not here and gave us great music with his brother in Eclipse? Did they not give us bangers? That happened. And this is happening. So I'm the type of person where I'm not biased to time. Right? Real. I'm not biased to time.
As long as you're creating, you're relevant.
Long as you're creating and you're great, I'm with it. So I feel the same way about Drake that I feel about Pusha, that I feel about Meek Mill. If you have something to offer to this world and you can relate to a group of people with a story like none other, then do what it is that you're here to do, because no one can take your story away from you. No one can take your connection to a group away from you, because Drake hasn't lived the life that Meek Mill has lived. Not close. No. And Drake hasn't lived, and Pusha T hasn't lived the life that Drake has lived. Yeah. Not close. And it can go, and you can choose either one of them and mix it, and you might have a little similarities more on the street side with Pusha and a Meek. But when it comes to street or suburb living, or Drake probably suffered with things that you can never understand, because he might have had grown up in a household where people perceived him as doing well, and he struggled. Mm-hmm. So it's about him using that story, Meek using his story, Pusha using his story to relate to a group of people who, when they hear this music, they say, that is my life.
Never mind whether they're from the suburbs or they're from
Yeah, no matter where you're from, that is my life. I relate to that. That's why I bought this album. That's why I connect with this album.
Is this what we're going to be hearing from you in your next album?
And yes, I feel like on my next album, you're going to hear my story. It's not about what's going on with what she got to say about me or what I have to say about her or what he has to say about me or what I have to say about him. Now, don't get it twisted. Somebody come at me, it's lights out. Period. But there's a bigger picture, right? There's this missing elements. So while I come across as this super confident person in my music, because I am a super confident person, but where's the vulnerability? Where's the insecure days? Where's the moments when I've questioned myself? People need to hear that as well. And it's so important because we're human. Nobody's always strong. Even in preparing for war, you have weak days, you know? So I think that, I think I've said a mouthful about what I think about competition and battling. It's entertaining. It's great. I love it. And when I get a chance, I'm going to listen to, my brother's tried to play it for me. He's even put headphones on me while I'm falling asleep from writing treatments for shoe game or not shoe game, but like writing treatments for the next video or finishing up edits for shoe game. Like he like, look, it's a battle. And I'm like, bro, I'm tired. And I haven't really got a chance to get into it, but am I into the ratchet shit? Hell yeah. I want to hear that shit. But I haven't got a chance, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's very important to give my perspective on what I really feel.
Yep.
Because if I just give a bullshit answer, it'll be all around and it'll be perceived as something that is not, it's not what I'm carrying with me. It's not my truth. My truth is that I feel like no matter what happens in a battle, you still have another day to tell your story, to relate to an audience who fuck with you, period. And nobody can stop that. I'm sorry, I'm so passionate.
Your truth. For real, the one, you know what I mean? The one thing we constantly said was, you are the truth.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you.
So, Mama, we've reached the stage for a part of the show which I like to call All That in a Bag of Limes. We don't have any limes. We've stopped using limes. What I do have is a little poche full of questions.
Oh, okay.
Put your hand in here, pick out a question.
Are you serious?
And read it out loud. I'm serious.
Oh, the limes.
Deadly serious.
I remember limes. You're a lime girl.
Okay, and if you don't know what it says, then ask me and I'll let you know. Okay. Read it out loud.
Oh, who said I can read? Okay.
I just did. What does it say? What does it say?
Terrible.
Give me it here. Let me see. What did I write? I can't remember. Oh, straight in there. Fuck, marry, kill. Drake, Kendrick, or Kanye? Or Drake, Kendrick, and Kanye are your options.
I've never played this game. I've never played this game live. It's almost easy.
Go for it.
Not really, though. Okay, I got it. I got it.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck Kendrick.
Boom. I'm with you on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mary's next.
Yeah, marry.
Marry Drake.
Yes.
Kill Kanye.
Kill Kanye?
Yep.
I thought we loved Kanye.
You know I love Kanye.
And you'd kill him?
But it's a choice. Okay. It's cliche. It's the thing to do now.
It's cliche.
Okay.
I feel we'd bounce back as well.
I think I chose I chose you don't want to know my reasons, right?
I want to know your reasons. 100%.
You never asked. You gave me the thing.
No. Put that back in. Tell me your reasons.
Okay, I'll tell you my reasons first before I read it.
Okay, what were your reasons?
I feel like Kendrick would be like a good passionate, like, yeah. I remember syrup sandwiches, like, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel like Drake would be like an emotionally supportive husband.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kanye is just in hot water right now, so I just killed him because that was the best thing to do right now.
You saved him.
I saved his life.
Fair play.
Kayla.
Yes. So spill the tea on Kayla. How do you feel about her?
I love Kayla. And I think that we touched it already earlier. There was some things where I felt like it was like a little bit of like insecurities happening underneath. But overall...
Do you think that was before or after you called her a bum?
after I called her a bum, I always liked Kayla. I just knew that in competition, she would do anything and she would say anything. And I was being very honest. Like, I felt like she was being a bum. Mentally, she was like, I don't know. But then physically, she's really fucking strong. Like, she was holding her body up. And I was just like this, trying to get up. So it was like...
I feel like that. When you called her a bum, I feel like that made her really raise her game. A bit like you were saying about Casper earlier. I feel like because of that, she was like, oh, I'm going to show you.
Oh, bitch, I'm a bum. Let's get it. For real. And then she still lost to me in the swim challenge. So, cool.
Yeah. Oh, you crack me up. Go for it.
Lubes or Manolos?
Shoe game. Lube
Shoe game looking like Moo game.
You have
looking
to kill
like...
one.
Kill one?
Yeah.
I would go with lubes only because like they make really dope strap up sandals,
So kill Manolo.
styles. Kill Manolo for now. Yeah.
Forever.
I should have chose Manolos, right? They have better heels sometimes.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a bit of range with lubes. I feel like Manolos, you just have your Sex and the City shoe.
Yeah, get this out of here.
That's about it.
We keep it on lubes.
Out of here. Ready?
Send me some shoes,
Lubes.
Yeah. Send me some lubes and booze.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of loops.
And you know they do the nail varnish now as well,
Shane.
don't you? Thoughts on Shane?
Shane is such a sweetheart. I love him. Mm-hmm. But while I love him in competition, same thing like Kayla. While I like people, and here's the thing, I like people for being who I know they're going to be. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I.e., don't give me any curveballs.
Yeah, I know he's full of shit.
Yeah.
He say anything.
He knows that.
He say anything.
And he knows he is. Go for it.
Yeah, he knows. And he loves me because I call him out on his shit.
Yes, you do.
He be like, Mama. Devin. Oh, man. I was sad when Devin and...
got eliminated.
No.
What?
I was sad when Devin and Hennessy had it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I felt like Devin, out of everybody, was one of the most sweetest ones. I wasn't sure if his frustration came from like an entertainment purpose, like where he was like trying to get a moment for TV, or if he was seriously just frustrated. I'm not sure which one it was, but I felt like that wasn't him, because he's such a...
I feel like it was two things. I feel like he was genuinely frustrated. Okay. And then I also felt like they knew that if they riled up Hennessy, they could get rid of one person very quickly.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like she kind of fed into that.
Fed into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that shit because I felt like Devin, he be chilling. Like he's the one that's just like, oh, it's whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Things go how they go, and then he gets out there, he plays his game, but he's never like aggressive.
Yeah.
So for him to be aggressive with a female, I kind of was just like, what's happening right now? Because but he wasn't super aggressive. He never stood up. He just was saying things to provoke her.
Yes.
Because if he would have said those things to me, I would have got angry too.
Yeah, for real.
Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, in that environment when everyone is around, it was just like too much. It didn't need to be said. She was already in the room.
Yeah, but I love Devin. I think he's cool.
Mm-hmm. What have we got here?
Cardi B, fire. Why I like Cardi is because I feel like she's very authentic. Yeah. And while she can be loud and crazy, she's a Libra like us. And she has
When's her birthday?
I think I want to say the 11th or like somewhere up there, like between the 10th and the teens. She's my Libra sister. And she, while rap is not her first go-to thing, she was open to learning something new and creating an opportunity to feed herself and feed her family. Yes. And while doing it, even to this day when she's pregnant, she works. Yes. She posts herself in the studio constantly working and not feeling like she's gained enough. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes people get to this fame thing and they just let go to work. Yeah. She's working and she's doing her best. I fuck with her. Yeah. I like her.
I'm happy for her.
Very honest girl. I don't know Bad Baby.
You don't know her?
No.
Any of her music?
None.
You heard it here first.
Who's this, Cash Me Outside? That's the one. Yeah, I think I affiliate the name with that. Like, I've heard those two things.
I Don't Know You. You just did a Mariah.
This should be changed to SHADE.
Shade.
I Don't Know You. What?
I Don't Know You. You heard it here first.
Most rated?
Yeah, most overrated and underrated rapper in the game.
Most overrated?
Yeah.
And most underrated?
Yeah. feel that too.
Overrated. Underrated. It's like names going through my head while I'm saying each one. Pass. It's controversial. That's a controversial one. And if I be honest, it's gonna.
I'm gonna put fuck, marry, kill in there again.
Huh?
I'm gonna put
if I'm honest,
penalty.
If I'm honest about that one, what's gonna happen is that this interview will go viral, but while it will, it won't be worth it because then I'm gonna have to fuck people up.
Go for it.
Who has the best shoe game? Mary J. Blige.
Ooh, what kind of shoes she rocking?
Boots, fly shit, whether it's up to the knee or low. Like Mary always has the boot game popping. Her shoes, her and all her friends, Jada Pinkett, like all of them, they some bad bitches. Like they just fly.
I'm gonna have to check them out. What have we got left? One left. What's that?
Nothing.
She passed on Nicki Minaj. Shade.
That's not shady. Oh, ugh. Fuck, marry, kill.
Is it another one?
It is another one.
Hey! Yes.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Who's in it this time?
Casper, Tony, and Devin.
Boom.
Ooh.
Think about it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Fuck Tony.
Mm.
I've always wanted to.
Well done, Tony.
No, I'm just playing. I've always wanted to. Marry Casper.
Oh.
Marry Casper because, and I had to kill Devin because Devin seems like he'd be too much of a weak man for me. Yeah. And although Casper can be really strong, I would rather a person that tells me what it is, looks me in the eyes and like, babe, let's go. Let's do this. And I feel like the way you guys fought in the competition, I need a husband that's going to fight with me like that in life. Yeah. So, yeah, fuck Tony. Tony bad. And when I first saw him, I was like, he is hot. And then he opened his mouth and I was over it. I was like, forget it.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, and then once I found out that he had a relationship, he has his baby, and he has this girl he wants to like propose to and engage to. Of course, I wouldn't fuck him now. But as far as the game goes, but yeah, I wouldn't fuck Kendrick either. Yeah. In real life. But I'm saying, as far as the game, exactly. I had to choose one or else I'm not playing the game. Like how you be like, choose another name. Like, no, bitch, choose one of the names that's right there. So.
Wicked. I've got one final question for you. What do you think you were put on this earth to teach?
I don't know, but I'm sure gonna find out real soon.
Oh, we gonna learn.
We gonna learn someday. One of them, though, I think is to definitely use my voice and like be super transparent on how I feel about what's happening and help deliver people through. Oh, there it is. I feel like my career, when I say my career, I mean, from the point that people met me up until now, whether it be personal or business, for the public to have a front row seat at my life was for a purpose because I was humiliated on a huge platform for quite a few years, and I had to endure that pain and that pressure. I never popped pills. I've never used cocaine or any strong drug like that, and I've never tried to kill myself. The most that I've done was I smoked weed, and that's something that I started doing when I was like 12 years old. I'll smoke weed and be like, yeah, I'm high, let me write a song. Or like, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was so cute, And then it turned into moving to California, and I would literally buy like a pound or something like that and just have it and just smoke whenever I'm ready. But I felt like it put me in this place where I could think. And maybe that helped me to cope with reality. But more so, I spent a lot more days in my career sober because I haven't smoked in 6 years. I haven't smoked weed in 6 years, and I haven't used any drugs since then. So
from that point that you mentioned, that humiliation, we're talking about that stage invasion, I presume. And you're talking about, right, okay, so, you didn't kill yourself, you didn't take drugs, you didn't do all of those things. How did you medicate from that?
How did I medicate?
Yeah.
I feel family was one of the strongest elements that God could have ever like placed in my realm. Like when people say that, you know, when you're in the womb, you choose your family, or like you choose your parents. I think they say something like that. They was perfect. And I know that because when my sister was born, she was born with a spirit already. There was no, we created her to be who she is. She already came out like, don't fuck with me. And she still's the same girl. So, you know, we don't give her any like, we don't go back and forth with that girl about nothing because we know that she's being authentic. That's who she is, right? So I'm thankful for having my family because, like, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me during a time when I was like really depressed and like questioning myself. Yeah. My aunt braided my hair so tight that I was forced to keep my head up.
Physically forced to keep your head up.
I had to walk like this. Because it was so tight.
Oh my God.
But the difference between her doing my hair and before was this. Just like whatever. It was just whatever.
Did she do it that tight on purpose?
I think so.
She did. My God. Because there'll be sometimes when you get those cornrows.
No, I think she braided
it when you go to bed.
No, she braided that tight on purpose. I literally was every day just like this.
And what do you think that did to you? Like on a spiritual, mental level?
I saw life differently. I started to remember who I was and my purpose. I've never been a person that walks with my head down or held low or anything like that. When I was in school and I had friends, like we would go through things and I would be like, it's going to be all right. You can't let that keep you down. I would uplift my friends and be this person that always had a positive energy and like a spirit of, look at it on the bright side. Even though we dealt with reality of what was happening, whether, you know, someone lost a parent or someone lost a friend or someone lost their home or someone's parents lost jobs. Like people go through shit, man. Yeah. And it's like, how do we get past this? I've always been that person that's like, all right, what's next? And so for me to have a moment where I was humiliated and hurt on a huge platform, which was in front of the world, right? It taught me something about strength.
Which was what?
You gotta have it. No, I'm playing. It comes in a spiritual form, it comes in a mental form, and it comes in a physical form. And sometimes you're not gonna always find strength within yourself. It can take people outside of you to restore, to help heal you. And so when you ask about family, that's why I say I'm thankful that I had that as my medication, my family, my close friends. And when we talk about, what was the other thing that you asked me about? You said
you felt you were here to put on this. I feel like you kind of answered that.
Yeah.
I feel like from my perspective, don't let me speak your truth. I feel like you were put here to help uplift people.
Yeah.
I feel like your examples and your struggle shared will uplift people.
Exactly.
And teach people.
And to answer furthermore, moreover,
go for it,
is that had it not happened publicly, right, where you could see it and not know me, or he could see it or she could see it and not know me, when I go to speak, there's never a, how would you know? Instead, there's a, I hear you, girl, because I don't know how I would have did it. That was tough.
So here's a question. And this is something that literally just popped into my mind. Do you feel that, you know, that event, that humiliation was made for you?
Yes.
Because you're a person that can handle it? Yes,
I do. They say God doesn't give, God only gives battles to his soldiers that he knows can handle it, right? And I believe that to be true. I just feel like, man, that's such a powerful thing, right? Because when you're in the middle of something that's tough, you feel like you don't know what's going to happen or how you're going to make it through, or you just feel, and I'll speak more over from a personal perspective, I feel, or should I say I felt defeated in that time. I felt like, why does everybody hate me? Why don't people understand or see my perspective, right? And what happens ultimately is that how will people see your perspective overall? It's not about that moment.
No.
That was a defining moment.
Yes.
But for you to tell a story of overcoming when it was in the shadows or it was in a place where people couldn't see it, they won't believe you. It happened in broad daylight. Like this, boom, lights literally on you. Yeah, be humiliated. Yeah, handle that. Deal with the pain. So when you talk about it and you're talking to someone else who may have lost a parent to cancer or may have lost whatever, and they had a great opportunity at college to study abroad or to do something amazing, but they couldn't handle it because they were dealing with this pain. They know that you understand.
Yes.
Or when they're dealing with humiliation, whether they were, hey, come into my office. You know what? No, stay right there. Now the whole staff is looking like, you're fired. Because I lost my job. Not only did I lose my job, I lost my job in front of all of my colleagues.
Yes.
I'm humiliated. No matter where I go to work next, they'll always carry that story. If I run into these people 3 years down the line, they're carrying that story. No one knows how I feel. I know how you feel. You know what? You're right. Let's talk about it. How do you get through? And it's a healing process that happens now because people feel understood. And I'm thankful for it now. I am thankful.
Little Mama. Thank you for
Louise.
coming on Slay Sunday.
Slay, AKA Shade.
AKA Shade.